Hey guys, welcome back to another interview here on Tone In Entertainment. I am joined by the Revenant Brian Andrews.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
Man, it's really great.
Yeah? Now I want to ask you about this shirt. It says, "Set the ghost light, your show is over." Right. What does that mean?
So, before pursuing professional wrestling and before the pandemic, I worked as a stagehand in theater. And so, after all the gear's loaded up in the trucks, everything's cleared to the stage, the head job steward, head technician, head electrician, sorry, yeah, I'm a little delirious.
You did wrestle a match already tonight?
Right, and so at the end of the show, we put a ghost light on the stage, so that way it's not completely dark, people fall off the edge of the stage and whatnot, but once the ghost light is set, the show is over.
Okay.
Time to go home.
So that's what it is.
It totally works like a charm.
I like it.
So all of my moveset all the names of my moves are based on stagehand terms. So the finishing move is the ghost light. So whenever we have like curtains and set pieces, they hang on what's called a batten, which is basically a pipe. So sometimes I'll do a flying lariat off the top rope, but I call it the flying batten.
Okay.
Pipe coming in. There's type of knots. There's a couple different knots we use when tying rope. We have the Clove Hitch. And so eventually I'm hoping to do what I will call the Clove Hitch crossface.
Okay.
So when you put your hands together, it kind of looks like you're doing a Clove Hitch knot. And then I'm also hoping to do a bowline leg lock. So it's basically like a sharpshooter's scorpion death lock. But
right.
When you set it up, it looks like a bowline.
So you've got like all these whole moves already planned out with like these clever names.
Yeah.
I like that because you got to have a name that people will remember the move from, because a lot of people do similar moves but they call it like a different variation of things. Because everybody now, I think the most popular move that I see every time, it's the cutter, it's the cutter, it's the cutter. But everybody can do it, but it should be something that catches your attention, right?
Yeah. It's like, oh my God, it's a jumping cutter. I'm like, let's put some spin on it.
Right. Yeah, because how many times do you want to hear the same move called over where you've got a whole list of unique names to go with your moveset?
Sure.
I like it.
It's all about, in training, it's always weave the reality into the fiction.
Okay.
So, what more perfect aspect to do that?
Now, why the nickname the Revenant?
So, a friend of mine just put it as a comment on Facebook. She's like, the motherfucking Revenant. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. And so I actually looked up the definition of the Revenant. Because I only heard the name before through Mortal Kombat and the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Okay.
In Mortal Kombat, they make them kind of like zombies and stuff like that. It's like, okay, so it's like an undead thing. Like, okay, if I go with that, I kind of risk being compared to an also undead character that just retired. It's hard tattoos.
It's hard. You don't want to go down that road.
But I was never dead, man. But so the actual definition of Revenant is someone believed to have come back from the dead, but they never died.
Okay.
So, for years, like when I was a kid, like I always wanted to become a professional wrestler, but I didn't know how. And so I was working AEW Dynamite in Huntsville before the pandemic.
Okay.
And my coworkers, as well as main roster talent's like, "Are you a wrestler?" I'm like, "No, but I can be." So I hit up my mentor, DDP. I'm like, "Hey, do you know of any quality wrestling schools around here?" And he put me through to QT Marshall.
Okay.
So I went and had a meeting with QT at One Fall Power Factory at the time, and was set to start training on June 1st. Then the pandemic happened. And so as the pandemic was going on, I got another one was like, "Hey, do you want to do Nightmare Factory?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Right. That's a simple answer.
So, come fast forward now, I started training September 21st, and then graduated from Nightmare Factory training on December 13th, and been wrestling ever since.
Nice. What's it like training with QT?
He's fun.
Yeah.
People said like he's like the bad guy and stuff like that. I mean, he's got a dry sense of humor, but he's a no BS kind of guy.
Okay.
but the man can literally do everything. Everything. He knows wrestling inside and out. Like, he is the perfect teacher for this stuff.
Right. Because I wasn't too familiar with QT Marshall until AEW came around.
Sure, a lot.
You know? And then, I saw him a couple times, but then I went to the show in Miami right before everything shut down last year, and QT was in a match there and like won me over that night in the match that he was there. That I saw him in AEW at Dynamite in Miami that time.
When we were training, like, he was doing like moonsaults and 450 splashes and stuff. I'm like, dude, he literally can do everything.
Right.
It's like, what the hell?
Right. And turn on his best friend Cody Rhodes at the same time.
To be honest, I've been waiting for that to happen for quite some time.
You've been waiting for that.
I've been waiting for it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, what was it? There's a documentary about him on Amazon Prime called The Wrestler, the QT Marshall story.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Check it out. It's
Okay.
back when he was coaching, I believe, at the Monster Factory in New Jersey.
Okay.
And, I can't remember the producer's name, but I thought QT was a good enough wrestler, obviously, to make a documentary about him. And so, I can't remember who. Someone gave him the God's gift to wrestling and stuff like that. And so, like, he plays a really good heel. Like, come on. Where's it at? Where's it at? I want to see a heel turn.
Right.
And we finally got it.
He finally got it. He took his students and turned on them.
I mean, especially like watching the social media, I'm just like, savage.
Right.
Savage.
Yes. Yes.
Like, so this is, it's, in my opinion, it's premium content.
It was, definitely.
So I'm really, like I said, I'm really excited to see where that story goes.
Okay. Now, one of the questions I want to ask everybody here is, before the pandemic, I was doing a lot of movie reviews.
Sure.
Obviously, that slowed down.
Right.
Now I'm doing retro movie reviews.
Okay.
If I had to go back and review any movie of your choosing, what would you choose me to review?
Man, you're gonna give me. I'm gonna give you two interesting choices.
Give me two.
So my all-time favorite movie, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
Man, it's kind of like three movies in one.
Okay.
But it just works. It's like two and a half, almost 3 hours long. Like, it even has an intermission in the film.
Oh goodness! Back in the days when people didn't have the attention span for these long movies.
Dick Van Dyke is the main actor in it. And this movie was of utmost importance because it had a lot of behind-the-scenes guys from Disney doing a non-Disney film.
Okay.
And so, like, obviously people were thinking this was going to flop. It was like the music composers did a lot of music for the Disney movies.
Okay.
It's the first non-Disney movie they did. And to me, it's one of the best soundtracks ever. Like, to be honest, like, if I'm on long road trips, I literally will throw on the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang soundtrack. There's a really cool song called Hushabye Mountain, and I played that a lot when I was putting my son to sleep when he was first born.
Okay.
And then, I can't remember the guitar player's name, but he teamed up with a singer from Ireland. Oh man, what's her name? I'm gonna have to look it up, but they did like a really cool, like, trippy rockabilly version of Hushabye Mountain. I'm like, dude, this is like amazing. Was it Lisa Hannigan? I think. I'll have to look.
Don't quote him on that.
Don't quote me on that.
Because somebody's Googling it right now. They're like, no, I knew what the answer was.
But, so, second movie. Actually, I like three.
We're getting three today. Okay.
I'm a big horror movie fan.
Give me a good horror movie.
The Exorcist is my all-time favorite horror film.
That's a tough movie to watch.
With a very close second of the original Hellraiser.
Okay. We watched the original Hellraiser about 2 years ago.
I'm really big on practical effects.
Okay.
And so the Frank resurrection scene, just absolutely amazing. Because, I mean, through the past, 20 years, 30 years, people have been relying so much on CGI and stuff.
Yeah.
And that was what I thought was really cool about the new Star Wars stuff, is, they used puppetry and practical effects before they used a lot of CGI. And, seeing that on, The Mandalorian and stuff like that, I'm just a real sucker for that, because it's a real craft.
Right, it is.
There was an acquaintance I knew who did special effects for, I want to say it's Creepshow, and actually got to see the zombie, the robotic zombie. Like you can control it with a remote control and get to see it do all the moves and stuff. It's like, man, this is so cool.
Right. It really is a craft and an art to do something like that. I mean, computer animation is definitely an art in itself, but
and it can be done great. Obviously, I mean, look at the new. Look at the recent release of Zack Snyder's Justice League. Look at all the Marvel films. Like,
those movies don't exist without great CGI.
Right. Like, when it's done on point, it's great.
Right.
So, nope. As far as like movies review, that's all I got for those.
Hey, the three, I mean, we've seen the original Hellraiser, The Exorcist. What is it about the music in The Exorcist? It is like so, it's like that soundtrack in there that's so iconic.
So, my mom, bless her, can't stand that movie. And even then, just the slight sound of the song Tubular Bells. And my mom got like a director's cut. It's like the version you've never seen cut of The Exorcist for my birthday or Christmas one year. And so I started playing Tubular Bells on just CD. She goes, "Turn it off." Like, what? You got me the movie.
Right. What do you expect me to do?
But I'm a sucker for really good soundtracks.
Right. I think that's one thing that's kind of like lost today is like
another art itself.
Right.
You know, Stranger Things. Perfect soundtrack.
Right.
You know, like, I'm really big on like synthwave stuff. There's a group out of South America. I want to say Portugal or Brazil. They're called Paper Cuts. I discovered them because they did a cover of The Cure's Disintegration, which is one of the best Cure songs ever. But their take on it is perfection. And I literally bought all their stuff off of iTunes just based on that one cover. And I'm like, where's this cover at? And I sent them a tweet. I'm like, hey, I just bought all your stuff trying to get this Cure cover. Where's it at? It's like, oh, it's like a limited download. Da-da-da-da-da. But since you're such a good, loyal fan, we'll email it to you.
Oh, okay.
Like, yes.
That was one of the things I used to love about like movies, especially like in the 90s and 2000s when I grew up, was not only would you get a cool movie, but you would have an awesome like soundtrack to go along with it. And I feel like with music just being digital nowadays, like you just don't get those kind of things anymore.
No, I mean, like to be honest, like the video game sector is killing it with soundtracks.
That's true too.
Hot damn.
Speaking of video games, do you have like a favorite video game of all time?
You know, I have this really bad habit of buying video games and not completing them.
It happens to all of us.
I literally bought like the top edition of Red Dead Redemption 2. I've not played it at all, and I've had it for like 2 years now. But I really like the Dishonored series.
Okay.
I like the recent God of War, where it's based in Norse mythology. The original story was great too. Trying to think of some other games.
Because it just seems like a huge, like you're thinking about Red Dead Redemption 2, and it's an awesome game.
Death Stranding is really good.
Death Stranding. Okay.
It's got Norman Reedus in it.
Okay.
As well as Guillermo del Toro. I'm a really huge Guillermo del Toro fan. Like, his movies do not disappoint. No, let me rephrase. Movies that he directs do not disappoint.
Right.
There's been some movies where he's a producer, but it's still not up to del Toro's stuff.
But when he directs,
right,
it's on
like
point.
the original Pacific Rim, I thought it was great. The sequel, not so much.
A little something to be desired.
It was a good bridging story because they just Netflix just released an animated Pacific Rim series called Pacific Rim: The Block.
Okay.
And that's a great series. So it borrows a lot of it takes on a lot of story components from Pacific Rim Uprising and applies it to the new show. So it was a good vessel for the series. Let's see here. Back to movies. Games.
Games. I think we're on games now.
Yeah, Death Stranding's really good. Like I said, Del Toro is in it. It's got Mads Mikkelsen. He played the Hannibal in the series.
Okay, I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
That's a good series if you haven't seen it. Hannibal series.
I think we've watched a couple episodes of it. So good.
So good. But yeah, video games. Death Stranding's really good. crazy Silent Hills demo. I think it was P2 or P3 or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was P3. I think it was.
Like, absolutely insane of a game. Just a demo. I'm like, I want more of this. And I think that's how Death Stranding came to be. Because the whole Konami and Kojima deal didn't go through. So they just took, it was supposed to be Del Toro and Norman Reedus doing a Silent Hill game. And then that whole deal fell through.
Yeah, like a lot of stuff happened with Kojima and just it's been a little crazy in the video game industry.
Right. But yeah, honestly, I mean, I haven't played video games since the pandemic. Like, I was just kind of haven't because I've been enjoying time with my kid and stuff like that. You know, became a DDP Yoga instructor and stuff like that.
Very nice.
Yeah, definitely made use of the time. Obviously, becoming a professional wrestler.
Yes.
I mean, what do people do in the pandemic normally? Like, oh, let's become a professional wrestler.
Why not? Why not? I think, over this past year, it's given us all an opportunity to maybe do something that we've been putting off for a long time. And
I mean, there was this, somebody made this video, and it was called The Great Awakening. And to be honest, before the pandemic, I was working in movies and theater, nonstop. After my son was born, all that December, I didn't only got to see him on Christmas Day because I was working 18-hour days. And so, really, the pandemic, I think, for a lot of people, put in perspective what is really most important to them.
Right.
And so, for me, I'm really thankful for the movie crew that I've got at home. It's working on Heels right now. They totally support me being a professional wrestler as well as just being a very active father. So, I really couldn't have asked for a better crew.
Hey, that's all you can ask for, right? Family, a good career, good job, all that good stuff. Brian Andrews, where can people look you up at?
They can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. So Instagram and Twitter @ Revenant Andrews, and then Facebook.com/Revenant Andrews.
Merch? Any merch out there?
Oh yeah, I've got plenty of merch. I've got plenty of t-shirts, women's tank tops, stickers, 8x10s, and I also, as a part of my merch package, I also offer one-on-one DDP Yoga sessions.
Okay, there you go.
Definitely use my craft as a vessel to help others in need.
I like that. How can people contact you if they're interested in that?
They can hit me up on Revenantwrestling @gmail.com or southboundfitness@gmail.com.
There you go. All right, Brian. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tom.
Yeah, definitely. Nothing but the best.
Absolutely.
Keep doing that DDP yoga.
Absolutely.
Keep, helping out people out there that are looking for a little something out there. And
it's all about giving back. I mean,
it is.
I've been helped graciously a lot over the pandemic, and anything I do to pay it forward, that's what I try to do.
I love it. Pay it forward. It's a great message. Thank you, Brian, so much.
Again.
And guys, if you like interviews like this with Brian Andrews, make sure you stay tuned in here to Toned In Entertainment for future videos. Subscribe to the channel. Do it. Go now. Do it now.